Ready Check Radio. What's up, Internet? It's Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio, it's time for the Relic Grind, our Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast. I'm your host, as I am every week, Mike Byrne, and today we're obviously going to talk about some Final Fantasy XIV news, including server stuff that we didn't go into a ton of details with last week because we had a bunch of other topics, so we'll hit it just to recap for you. We're going to take a look at Square Enix's 2022 lineup, which is just looking chock full of stuff, and we'll even touch on the Microsoft Xbox purchase of Activision Blizzard. We'll get everybody's initial opinions on that, but more importantly, we'll want to talk about what does that mean for gaming in general and possibly Square Enix's future. If you want to know more and hear more opinions and in-depth analysis on that exact topic, expect that to be a huge part of Gaming Gumbo, our podcast this Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Joining me to go over all of it, Mr. Chris Montoya, a.k.a. Tarkoth. What's up, sir?
Greetings, programs. Everything's going well. I don't like clowns, so not particularly happy with a certain seasonal event. Well, I'm happy with it, but it creeped me out. It creeped me. Stranger danger.
Understandable. Understandable. We'll get to that right off the top of the show here, but first we got to introduce the other man on the panel, Mr. Adam Lane, a.k.a. Kronos. What's up, sir?
What's going on? Yeah, don't go see the new Batman movie then. You might want to stay away from that. No, yeah, I'm doing good. I finished all my level 90s. I have every job maxed out now. So I don't know what to do anymore except sit around and hunt, I guess.
That man is crazy. That man is crazy. I on the other hand, on my side, I still have multiple 90s, not Omni 90. We'll get there maybe. I don't know. Maybe. There's honestly some crafting jobs I've never even opened.
That's a lot of levels.
Yeah, I still see like the plus sign, running through at the Leather Workers Guild, and I'm like, fuck it. But minions still keep moving. I crossed the 90% threshold.
Nice.
Of all the minions in the game. I 377, or no, I'm sorry, 387. I think 387. Because I was at 386, but then the last Blu-ray CD that I didn't own because it was on back order came in yesterday. So I clicked up another one from 386 to 387. So still working on some more. I got to finish some stupid stuff, but we'll get there. So you saw the new Batman movie, huh? I know it's not Square Enix, but we'll hit that first.
No, it's not. No, the Batman movie's not out yet. I was saying
I don't know. I saw the new Spider-Man movie, guys, gents. I know that's like a surprise shock for you guys.
That's awesome.
It's exciting. My kids, my oldest boy and my daughter had already seen it on two different trips with friends, and my middle son, Torchwick, had not seen it yet. And so they were doing whatever, like being loud in the living room late at night because they've been off school for, ever. Because of holidays, and then when the holidays were over, they had midterms, and then they didn't have any makeup midterms, so they got like an extra 2 or 3 days off. It was just a mess. And all of a sudden, they come down here, and they're like, hey, you need to settle this. I'm like, what do I need to settle? There are 3 of you. What could you possibly have decided on across 3 of you? And it was, who was the better Spider-Man? Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, or Tom Holland? And I said, Tobey Maguire. He's the only one I watched ever. I saw the very first Spider-Man movie way back, and that was it. I didn't care.
Oh.
So I was like, yeah, it's Tobey. But they decided they were going to go see it the following day. They were my son and daughter were going to see it a second time. My other son was going to see it for the first time. They were like, do you want to go? And I'm like, I didn't see any of... Screw all the other Spider-Man movies. I didn't see the other Tom Holland ones. And why would I go see this? And they were like, here, this is all you need to watch. And so they put on a video that was like the last 2 minutes of the previous Tom Holland one. And they were like, that's all you need. That's all you need,
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And they said, the only reason you got to watch this is because in the movie, it's just done via voiceover behind the
goes
credits.
right
so
from there to
yeah,
to the
you
start,
won't
yeah.
you won't know what's going on. So watch it here. Gotta say, gents, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. But I thought it was a really good movie. I know it's not
Yeah.
Square Enix related.
Yeah.
Speaking of not Square Enix related, 2 out of 3 of us, and soon to be 3 out of 3 of us, have been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters on Steam. I bring this up even though it's not Square Enix related because I gotta say, I could not help but sit there playing it going, this is how Final Fantasy 1 should work. This is how Final Fantasy 1 should work. Like, there are aspects of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm going to be doing a first look as a non-Yu-Gi-Oh! Player. Like, I've never played in my life until yesterday. First look of the software on mmobomb.com next week. There are aspects of it that I don't like. I don't like some of the monetization stuff they do. I don't like the secret packs bullshit that, with the timers that kind of, oh my God, that pack is actually one I need for a particular deck that I would like. I don't happen to have farmed up any gems lately, so I gotta pay cash now or that secret pack goes away in 24 hours, Chronos. That type of stuff's bullshit. I also don't like the disenchant system so far. It's not just one currency to disenchant and then create a card that you want. It's grouped by rarity.
Yeah, it's like
so,
a mixture of Hearthstone and Magic.
Yeah, so you can't go up and down rarities. You can't, like, disenchant 10 normals to maybe create a rare. You can disenchant normals to make normals. That's it. You can disenchant. So, and everything's the same rate. It's 10 or 15 if it's a foil, and the cards cost 30.
Mm-hmm.
So if you run the math, if you want to make an ultra rare, the highest rarity, you need to disenchant 2 foil ultra rares or 3 regular ultra rares to make 1 copy of the ultra rare. You can't just farm up, super rares and dump them into the next highest category. So there's things that I don't like. But from a UI perspective, Chronos, I think it'd be an excellent way for them to accomplish an FFTCG. Like, the response windows that were popping up didn't feel overburdening or anything like that. Now, obviously, I had to read and still will have to read an awful lot because I don't know the cards to the extent I do in Final Fantasy, where I can just go, no, 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 yes, no, no, yes. So I have to read a lot, and it goes a little slower, but I didn't feel like I was being bludgeoned with priority shifting windows. And it felt like there were just as many priority shifts, if not arguably more, than Final Fantasy. It really made me want an FFTCG official software.
It's not going to happen. It'd be awesome, though, but it won't happen.
I don't think it's
I
going to happen.
I think it's really polished, honestly. They're like, I think all those complaints are valid. I see why they did those things, though, but I think they're also valid complaints because when you have 10,000 cards, the featured packs kind of give you a way to like make sure you get the cards you want, as opposed to buying these packs that have like 8,000 cards in them. But yeah, I mean, the fact that they go away in 24 hours is a bit lame. I wish you could just like keep them or something once you unlock them. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's not an issue.
And this is something I was talking about. Or the way you actually unlock the secret packs is also random. It's when you pick when you open a master pack, you might get keys, and then as soon as you're done opening, those keys automatically unlock a random secret pack. So you have no control. Like, you buy master packs and get out of 6,800 cards, whatever you're looking for, or you hope for the best on getting a key from a master pack, getting that key to open up a set you're interested in, and then buying packs from that set because you have gems. I would be a little less mad about the way they're monetizing it right now if you could use the keys at will. Like, if it didn't automatically put the 24-hour clock on as soon as you got them from a pack. That way, like, if I want to take, because eventually, like, the plethora of free crystals that you get from playing the game slows way down, just like in every other TCG.
Yeah.
But if you could save the keys so that you could say, okay, you know what, I got 10 keys. I'm looking for very particular things. I'm going to farm up some crystals because I don't want to spend cash on this. And now, I got 2,000 crystals. That's, 20 packs. Let me pop these keys and hopefully I'll get the secret pack that I need. But no, it all happens like that, which puts the clock on. Oh, you didn't save up gems that we were giving away for free? Well, you got 24 hours to pay us cash. if you want to partake in that secret. There is a survey out. Yeah, the software did prompt me for the survey yesterday. Anyway, we can talk about that offline.
Right.
But it does make me want the FFTCG software. It really does.
Why do you feel that would never happen?
They just
the
I don't
audience
think
size.
they care enough about the game.
Yeah, it's in the miscellaneous revenue category or the merchandise category of revenue streams for Square Enix. Like the game itself is literally, and not, maybe that's not the way all employees there think about it, but as far as what category FFTCG shows up in on their P&L, it's the merchandise category. So it's the same way they treat their LP albums, their music CDs, their stuffed animals.
Gotcha.
It's just the merchandise category. It's not even in a games category by itself or anything.
To me too, just like really quick to touch on it.
You're in no hurry.
If they cared more, they would cross advertise way better, and they really don't. The only time they ever put cards in an actual game was Dissidia, and they haven't done it since. It just makes no sense. Like if you play a Yu-Gi-Oh game or a Dragon Ball Z game, there are cards in those game cases when you buy them physically.
Yeah, I mean, I always think they can do more, but I think that to say that they do nothing, and that's not what you said. That's not what you said, but there are people that we know that have said that. Is also unfair. I have seen they did it. It was in the 14 launcher once. Remember?
It was on like the 5th tab, but yeah.
But it was there. Like it was there.
Well, the thing is, like, think about that, right? Like, we play both games, or I did play the card game. You play it more than me now, and like you could easily miss that, even though you play both games.
Yeah.
Like it's just weird where they put stuff and how they decide to do stuff. It just feels like it's like secondhand, kind of. That's how it feels, kind of to me. But I mean, I hope that it's a good game. That's the thing that sucks. It's really good.
I just want to get organized playback. We did see today on the Germany site that there was a posting about organized play, regionals and stuff like that. So hopefully watch the other regions sites for FFTCG if you're looking for organized play. Nothing up on North America as of the starting of this recording, but maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
So in Final Fantasy XIV, All Saints Wake, very Pennywise inspired. Happy Halloween, gentlemen.
Yeah.
January 20th. Happy Halloween. Very, very Pennywise inspired quest chain this year, following the clown around, down under the bridge, into the Barrens, going to a festival where you're gonna, get eaten. Yeah, I gotta say, I liked this one. I liked it quite a bit. I liked the dungeon that's there, too. It is not just a reskin of Hawk Manor over and over again, like they've done for some All Saints.
Yep.
This is a redesigned Tamtara Deepcroft with very unique little missions along the way that serving as boss fights. A neat little story, some great cosmetics at the end. And if you want to go do Hawk Manor, you can. That is still on too. They didn't bounce one for the other, and I thought that was really cool. Like, I did not expect Hawk Manor to be there when they sent us to the new one. And once you complete everything, they're like, oh, by the way, if you want to go to the Haunted Manor, yeah, here you go. So the Haunted Manor or the revisioned Hawk Manor from previous events is there too. All in all, I got to give this one a thumbs up. Better late than never, but I was like, you know what? A lot went into this one, considering that we haven't had it for like 2 years, Stark.
Yes. I enjoyed it thoroughly. This was a great experience, aside from the clowns. The whole, stranger danger popped right away when they're like, hey, come join me in my house with sweets and foods and stuff, and don't tell anybody. I'm like, okay, that's just creepy as all hell. So, I enjoyed the instance. I can't wait to go back and do it again. Mainly because, little side note, make sure you have at least one inventory slot open for your cookie.
Womp, womp. Hold on, I know. I'm gonna give you the sad trombone, man.
Dude, be thankful you weren't doing Savage and you had a drop.
Yeah, well, I always
That
make
was
sure.
way worse.
I always make sure to have inventory open on that. But yeah, it's a good instance.
Well, he's got
I love
plenty
the
of time to
redesign.
fix his inventory during Savages while he's laying there. I mean, he's got plenty of time to just mess around with those bags.
Yeah. Cold.
I love the instance. I love the redesign. It's not just it really makes you go throughout the dungeon, being able to play in a different way. The mini games for the bosses were quite fun. They need to do more of this with their seasonal events. I'm not sure why we just have this for Saints Wake. Expand this kind of play style to all the seasonal events.
Yeah, Kronos, I'll tell you what, last boss little thing first time was a little hectic. Was like, whoa, oh, you know, when you didn't know what to expect, right?
Mm-hmm.
You hadn't done it before, you hadn't watched anything, and I went into it cold, you know, because I was like, it's a holiday event. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to fucking die. Oh, I almost died. Oh, man, I almost died. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's a holiday event. It's not anything like insane,
Yeah.
but it's for a holiday event.
As far as
definitely
events
better than-
go, it's up there.
It's probably one of the best ones, maybe the best, honestly. Just because the instance is actually like kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, you're not gonna get anything challenging or anything, but it's like different and new. And then the reward, like getting some glamour as a reward, that's kind of nice. So like, I mean, I think top to bottom, it's pretty good. I skipped all the cutscenes. I'll be honest. I don't really watch
it was totally just a ripoff of it.
Although
Yeah,
it was missing was
watch
red balloons and we float down here.
Yeah, that's all it was missing. That's all it was missing.
The holiday stuff, I just skipped. Like, I can't bring myself to give a crap about the like the seasonal event cutscenes.
He's on a Final Fantasy XIV show where a day ahead of time he knew we were going to talk about All Saints Wake, and the dude still skipped the cutscenes. He was just like,
I had
no.
Yu-Gi-Oh to play with. I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh. These cutscenes take time.
The whole thing takes like 30-40 minutes. I was like, nope, that's time better spent on Yu-Gi-Oh.
Well, I had to get the thing too, and I knew you were gonna have to go multiple times to get the gear, so I had to go in 3 times.
Oh, you had to go in 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only had to go twice. Once for the actual quest, and once right after it.
I think if you save all the people, you only have to go in twice. But the first time we didn't save everyone.
I figured it was based on that because there was no real reason for a tracker there.
Yeah,
to be tracking how many souls you save. Yep. So I had 1 extra cookie and bought some prisms.
Word.
Which I'll never use. Okay, so a little behind the scenes here for Ready Check Radio, whether it's the Relic Grind or Gaming Gumbo or whatever. Not so much with Gaming Gumbo, right? Gaming Gumbo is general gaming news, and even if there's a lot of small news, there's still a lot of news. This week, obviously, the Gaming Gumbo is going to be dominated by like 2 or 3 topics, and sometimes that happens, and that's great. But when you do a show, back in the Game Breaker days, they were, when I was there, they were specific games, right? This was Legendary, the World of Warcraft show, and Sanctum, the Rift show, and XIV Reborn, the 14 podcast, and all that stuff. And so when we started Ready Check Radio, and Tark was one of like the first 3 people that knew about it. He's the first person that knew about it that was not my immediate family, because my son Torchwick and I did a lot of the like planning. Like, my son is heavily involved in getting this all up and running. And one of the things I wanted to do was not make a show about a particular game. I wanted to make a show that was built around, if I was going to do an MMO like 14, I wanted to make it around Square Enix. We did Snowbound around Blizzard. Maybe that'll come back at some point, still on hiatus because of the way, Blizzard is right now. But that way, if there wasn't a lot of 14 news, we could go into other Square Enix things and cover the balance, right? And if 14 closed down, I still had a show, right? Or if World of Warcraft
Square right now, right?
Right. So that doesn't mean that it's always easy to fill all the show notes.
Mm.
And this week is kind of one of those weeks. I brought 1 or 2 pieces that didn't quite fit time-wise last week into the show this week, so we can cover them, so that'll be cool. So I figured, let's give everybody a PSA. I brought one. Did you guys bring one?
I could give you several. I have a bunch, but if we're sticking to one, I'll pick
Just
one.
one each. One each.
All
You
right,
got to pick
I got
one. Okay. So here's a little PSA. And this might be coming from different perspectives depending on what tip. You know, there's some Savage Raiders on hardcore we all Savage Raid, but hardcore Savage Raiders, a little more casual but still serious Savage Raiders. I'll get to it whenever the fuck I get to it, Savage Raiders. we run the gamut. But I'm going to give a little PSA. And this is coming from the perspective of a black mage who is sick to death of running dead ends and having the other ranged or melee DPS run from me. So I'm going to show you something. Please, this mechanic that I am showing here, for those of you listening on YouTube and not paying attention to the screen, take a peek. For those of you on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, thank you so much. All of you head on over to Ready Check Radio. Click those socials in the upper right. Give me follows and stuff. We like that. We did pick up more followers this week, so that's very kind of all of you. After we had one day where we didn't gain a follower, and I said something, and all of a sudden there was like 4 or 5 more. So I love you all. Help us follow us, subscribe. You know, it's what helps keeps us going and growing. So. This mechanic is not an all-stack mechanic, bitches. It is not. I am so sick of
AoE.
Yeah, I am so sick of running dead ends and having the tank at the boss. I'm at range because I'm a black mage. There is a healer usually at range, or the healer might be kind of humping the tank's area and the other DPS is behind the boss. And this goes off, and I go charging towards my closest friend, and they go booking it to the tank or the healer in melee range, and then none of us. This, you just got to stack with one person that has this marker. Just one. Just one. If you stack with more, fine. But you just got to stack with one. Please, people. You're getting me, my poor black mage, confused and ran into the barriers of the dead ends boss fight. I'll never make it back to the center where it's safe. Stand with me, not running from me. That's my PSA.
So yeah, for those that don't know, red down arrow was what I like to call a let's be friends mechanic. It's not an AoE. It's not damage that's going to happen. It's,
you know what I call it?
Stack.
I call it share the Dorito.
Share the Dorito. That works too.
Stack,
yeah, I call it share the Dorito.
You just need to be with one other person.
Just one.
Have a friend around with you.
Just one.
That way you don't get confused or turned into a frog or an imp. As long as you're with a friend that has that marker too, you're safe.
You'll avoid the secondary effect, which is the one you don't want.
Yes.
I would just ethereal manip to the tank. I would assume that's going to be the guy that doesn't move, and if they run away from me, that's fast. But
that's sad, yeah.
Yeah, usually I'm just like, as soon as I see it happening, I'm like, fuck it, heal me. You know, I'm just like, I'm not ethereal manipping anywhere. I'm just like, screw this.
Ethereal manip just before the cast is finished.
You're the black mages that I dislike. That's you. I see you.
No, I'm one of the black mages you dislike because other people aren't working mechanics. You can go ahead and dislike me then.
If you are in Narnia,
you can go ahead and dislike me then.
I don't even talk about black mages.
You can go ahead and dislike me then. If you're not going to complain about the healer not obeying the mechanic, you're going to complain about me getting. Oh, you didn't manipulate.
I'm going to queue for expert. I want Mike in my dungeon. I'm going to rescue him.
All right, what's your PSA, Kronos?
So I'm actually to be a little bit generic, I guess. I had several, but I'm gonna pick one that kind of gets to me. If you're a melee player, okay, and it's like, you know, like a harder fight, like not really talking about dungeon fight, more like extreme primals or savage or ultimate. Don't run out to the range spots. Like the range are gonna be there. Like for spread mechanics, I've been seeing this, and it's mainly Reapers that kill me. You don't need to like dash to the wall of the boss where the dancer is going, or like the range player who's giving you space on the inside. So you should try to like learn how to stay close to the boss so that you can hit the boss with your melee skills because you're melee. Instead of like running away for like 7 GCDs
Yeah,
and
uptime's
then
the
not
thing.
hitting anything and pressing harp. And if I'm watching you in the corner, press harp for 8 GCDs. Like that's no good. Just stay close to the boss.
Harp.
People are gonna give you
Harp.
space, and if they don't give you space, then you
Hit
say
'em.
in party chat like,
Hit
"Hey,
'em.
I need space. I'm a melee." Like,
I'm not using
Yeah.
material manip. You stay here. Stack with me. If they don't give you space, hit them. And if the healer gets mad at you,
yeah,
blame the other guy.
Let the
if
healers run.
Yeah,
Let the
I was gonna say, if
range
the black mage
run.
puts his ley lines down, make sure you stack on those though. You really want to put all the AoE
Oh, yeah.
on the ley lines.
Please let me tell you
ley
how
lines
much
for
I
everybody,
love
right?
that. Let
It's
me
a-
tell you
it's
how
a
much
raid
I
buff,
love
right?
that. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everybody's DPS goes up if you stand in my ley lines.
Mhm.
What do you got, Tark? What's your PSA?
It's just seeing so many sprouts. And it's just one of the oldest and most simple mechanics. When you see 4 arrows coming in on you, yes, that's an AoE, but that is a shared AoE. You want to share it with as many friends as possible. Don't run to the edge because you think, oh, it's the AoE. I gotta take it out here so it doesn't hit anybody. No, you want to hit other people with it.
Yeah.
Share
So
that
this
love.
one, you just need
Don't
one.
nuke yourself.
The one that Tark's talking about, run to the tank.
Run to as many people as you can find.
Yeah, the
That
black
one,
mage just shared that stack with you. He's in his ley lines and then did
Yeah.
fucking Narnia.
Yeah. If you see me with this red triangle above my head, book it. Just like don't get anywhere near me. If you see me in my ley lines, I want you to bring every AoE to me. Every single one. And now
if you
that
get
I
the
have said
stack marker,
that,
we come to you,
now I've
right?
said both of those sentences sarcastically. If I run into any of you in the duty finder and you ping me on Twitter because you did this to me, I will block you. All right. Let us know. I think this would be interesting. Commenters, head on over to ReadyCheckRadio.com under this episode or over on YouTube. Give us your PSA. And obviously, feel free to be as sarcastic as you like, because we certainly are. What is your PSA, your Final Fantasy XIV PSA? Let us know in the comments below. And we, you know what? If there's some good ones, we'll share them on next week's show, gang.
I feel like we need the more you know, and a starburst, going across the screen now.
No, it's not a star. You have the red triangle go.
Okay. Okay.
Just have that go flying. And then let's talk about some of the server stuff. We did get those updates last week, kind of mentioned them on the show. We talked about how we're going to be able to buy the game again for those of you that need it in about 5 days here, getting our Oceanic data centers up. The travel thing, or the one of them's being delayed. What is it off the top? I can't remember off the top of my head, Tark. What is it? One of them's getting delayed a little bit.
It's the data transfer.
Yes.
So transferring from
data
your home
center
world
travel
to wherever
system.
you want in the data center is going to be pushed to 6.1x.
That's
Yep.
still earlier than I thought it was going to be.
Yep, me too. Me too.
Yeah. Anything special you guys want to point out on this?
The expansion of the NA servers is interesting. I wonder if that affects, like if that's going to affect the data centers at all, or if they're just going to like tack a few onto each data center. They weren't really specific with how they were going to do that.
How have your queues been?
Might have been non-existent almost, like 30, so basically instant. Even when I log on, like right before raid.
Yeah, 30 to 40 on my end.
Yeah, mine have been 30 to 40. For a while there, it was like 30 to 40 in the afternoon, and then if I got on at like this time, I'd have like 1,500 to 3,000. But now, like it's like 16 in the morning and 30 or 40 during prime time, so can't really complain. But we're gonna get some more help, and the game should be back on sale soon for those of you that need those. Big news in gaming, moving on to general Square Enix news. Obviously this week, colossal, just huge news. Microsoft, Xbox in particular, Phil Spencer becoming the CEO of gaming. I know the title's not exactly that, but it might as well be. As Microsoft reorgs, and they weren't kidding when they were saying we're not done with acquisitions after the ZeniMax purchase. They went ahead and are moving now to acquire Activision Blizzard. in a move that is $68.7 billion straight cash, homie. No stock, no option stuff going back and forth, no saucy, tips here and there. It's just straight cash. Straight cash. Now, the deal's not expected to actually finalize until the Q3 of next year, 2023. Until then, Bobby Kotick will remain CEO. He hasn't been definitive about what's happened, but the side comments that everybody has made, including Bobby Kotick, seem to indicate that he'll be gone at that point. He's just going to leave with his big-ass multi-million-dollar severance and the hundreds of millions of dollars he will make as a stockholder in Activision Blizzard when the sale goes through. This is a huge deal. There's tons of gaming potential ramifications, concerns, and other things out there, and we're going to dive into that a lot more on Gaming Gumbo on Saturday. I do want to give you gentlemen, though, since you aren't on that show, a minute or two each to just kind of get your basic thoughts out there, maybe your concerns, your whatever you're thinking about the sale itself. But then I want to move this in more of a Square Enix direction as soon as we get your thoughts. So we'll start with you, Tark. You are muted.
Sorry.
You are good at podcasting stuffs.
Huge deal. What is this? Almost 10 Bethesdas? Is that right?
Almost. Yeah, it's almost 10 Bethesdas.
It's insane the amount of money.
10 ZeniMaxes, yeah.
They're getting one of the biggest publishers, Blizzard, which a lot of people still love, still support. I know they're having problems. They're getting one of the biggest mobile games developers in King. This is just crazy. And I feel, and we kind of see it with Sony's stock prices dipping, that this is affecting gaming on a whole level. I hope this isn't a pretense to a lot of minimizing the whole gaming space.
Great shrinking.
Shrinking, yes, great shrinking. I hope that, because there's so many developers out there, that this doesn't lead to a great shrinking, and that we still have this great diversity in game makers.
Kronos, your gut reaction to the sale itself?
I don't have as many worries about it, to be honest. To me, it's like monetarily it made sense to me, and I think they basically got Blizzard for free, because like Candy Crush and Call of Duty are probably going to make the money back that they spent on this in due time. And then I actually think it's good for the Blizzard games, just because they don't need to be like these powerhouse games anymore. They can just kind of be good games. I hope that's what it means. I mean, we don't know for sure. I don't have the concerns a lot of other people have. I hear like the word monopoly being thrown around. I think there's still a lot of
absolutely, and I'll spoil this one in case, so you don't have to wait for Gaming Gumbo. It is in no way, shape, or form anywhere close to a monopoly.
I agree.
The closest you might get on that argument is that it might violate some antitrust rule somewhere, but even that is highly unlikely.
Yeah, I think those people are overreacting, honestly. Yeah. And like the only thing in the gaming space that it even comes close to a monopoly in is maybe like FPSs. Like, I mean, having Overwatch, Call of Duty, Halo, that's a big deal. But I mean, you can't even really consider that a monopoly. But I think overall this is good for the games that they're acquiring, because I think they'll get some much needed love, and I think Microsoft's going to make buku money off of it, so they're probably happy. I mean, it does kind of suck that you could see these people gobbling people up, but I think there's still enough space in gaming where there's a lot of things going on outside of the big companies that's still good. So I hope I hope I'm right about that.
Yeah, I mean, because there is still an awful lot of time. So we don't know particulars on. We know they want to bring as much to Game Pass as they can, obviously. Yes. We don't know what that'll look like and what all titles. We know that they have some titles that they're going to have to put on other platforms, at least in the short term, due to existing contracts that already are here. And Phil Spencer said today that, he's been speaking to Sony, and, they desire to keep putting Call of Duty on PlayStation in the future. So they make money every time Sony makes something anyway, so Microsoft's not hurting for the money. But it was interesting to see, you had mentioned Sony's stock taking a tumble It lost quite a bit of its value on the back of this news. Virtually like that. So I want to ask you, there is speculation on what this could mean across the industry, particularly when you talk about the big dogs, right? Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. Tencent. You got to put Tencent in there, right? The number one gaming revenue company in the world. And then second is Sony, and this deal puts Microsoft in third in straight gaming revenue. Excuse me. Those are big dogs. Now, Tencent has been gobbling for years now. For years now. If you play it, Tencent probably owns a portion of it at this point. Depending on what company and what game, they might own all of it. But it depends on the game. So Tencent's been gobbling. Then we see, Microsoft lately get in there with ZeniMax, a couple other purchases along the way before that, and a couple after that, then this big grab of Activision. I think you kind of have to feel, and at least Wall Street certainly felt too, that somebody else is going to make some acquisitions here. Sony's stock went down on the announcement. Konami's went up. Square Enix's went up. All these kind of just under the top dogs, third-party companies, had stock bumps in anticipations that somebody was going to make a move to try and buy some of these. So I described it, and I think I saw Tark after I had described it somewhere like that. It was nice to see. I think you described it the exact same way. Are we in a little bit of a, like a gaming's arms race right now?
Yeah.
We know Sony needs to, and in all but confirmation, is going to be doing some type of online subscription service a la Game Pass. They haven't themselves confirmed it, but every bajillion rumor points to it. We also have had rumors that, in particular, Sony and Square Enix have always had a very cozy relationship. And the rumors are to this point, at this point, we talked about it on a previous show, that they want to do some more exclusives this year, whether they're timed or truly console exclusives. Everybody's on the whole metaverse crunch right now. Microsoft wants to fight off Facebook, all that outside of gaming in particular. When it comes to Square Enix, we talked, Kronos, months ago, when Microsoft said they weren't done buying, and we said, you know what? That'd be a nice way for them to get in Japan. Now, the Xbox Series X and S is doing better than the Xbox One did in Japan by leaps and bounds. It took 4 years for the Xbox One to get to over 100,000 units in Japan. It hit that in a year. PlayStation's still crushing it, with over 1.1 million units in Japan. And that was as of October 2021, so both of those numbers are higher now anyway. But it's doing a lot better. And we speculated, could Square Enix be grabbed by Microsoft? And then there were rumors that Sony and Microsoft were trying to grab Square Enix. And Square Enix had to come out and say, nobody's trying to buy us, stop. Do you think somebody's a little more likely to be trying to buy them now, though, Kronos?
More likely? Yeah, probably. I don't think they're gonna sell though. The way I see it, Sony has like a different approach. It feels like to me, where they're more like partners with a lot of companies, and then those companies give them like, exclusive deals. I can't remember the last time I've like looked at Xbox or Microsoft and I've been like, oh, they're partners with those guys. They just buy them, and then the games come out. Like they owned like Bungie and like all those companies. So it's like I don't know if like this is gonna really force Sony to like change the way they do things. It might. I mean, the stock prices aren't great, but that could be a bit of an overreaction. And I think if they just stay the course, it might just eventually go back. But that could just be naive. I don't know.
Yeah, Flynn in chat bringing up a good point that Sony likes this persona of we support the independent studio.
Well, I think you
but
better
we're
games
not
that way.
Right. But we're also not talking about, generally they use that in the context of more indie developers, not in these type of developers. And I would think that at some point, does Sony almost have its hand forced, Tark, into having to make some type of move and acquisition just to shore up its own assets? Yeah, it's nice to say that Call of Duty, Phil Spencer probably from his tweet says, hey, we desire to have it on PlayStation, but we don't know. Like, you don't know how that's going to shake out. Yeah. They don't have to. I would think it'd be financial folly not to, because that's something so big. Something I said in an MMO Thoughts video that you can watch on mmobomb.com. But, you never know. And Sony, if you're going to keep pumping out money to make exclusives for you with somebody like Square Enix, at some point, isn't that money almost better served by just buying Square Enix instead of paying for these exclusives, Tark? I don't know.
You kind of, hit a good point there. They're spending so much for exclusives. Why not take all that exclusive money because you want this partnership? Square and Sony are very tight ever since PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1. Maybe this is time to, really put out a big formal offer that the shareholders just like, we have to really consider this. Either that or make another move where like Konami, they've really been kind of sitting on their hands with their properties.
I think that one's more likely.
I do too. I do too. I think Square and Sony like their partnership the way it is. I think they're both happy with it. Sony buying Konami seems to be a more viable acquisition at this point.
The only weird thing though is like Konami makes like all their money off pachinko machines right now. They don't even use their own properties. Yeah.
But for that, they can just say as part of the deal that we still reserve the rights to use the imagery. Yeah, that's really all they're taking at that point. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this on the Square Enix front, because I think Sony. I don't think Nintendo's going to buy anybody. I think Nintendo's just like totally. Let's just sit in the corner and play with our Switches. That sounds awful.
We got Mario, we got Metroid, we got Link. We're good.
Let's just sit in the corner and play with our handhelds. That doesn't sound any better. They just kind of go do their own thing anyway, right? In the corner. Yeah. Losing their religion. And so I don't think they're going to do anything. I think Sony is probably, if they haven't already been, then I question leadership. Because if you didn't see where this train was going with Game Pass and with the ZeniMax purchase, then your leadership is probably not who should be your leadership right now. Yeah. But if, one, Square Enix has to want to be purchased.
Yes.
Right? No. I kind of thought that their statement saying nobody has been trying to acquire us, I always thought, and I said that on this show, I thought that statement was bullshit.
Yeah.
I think Sony and Microsoft tested the water, and Square Enix said, sorry, not interested.
Yeah.
And I wish if that's what happened, I wish they would have just been honest. Oh, yeah, they approached us, but we're not interested in being acquired right now. The other side of this is cash flow. Right? Cash flow Sony is a rich company, no doubt. They are not cash flow rich enough to go pay $70 billion in straight cash for a company. Now, granted, the companies we're talking about are significantly less than $60 or $70 billion. That's not the deal. But Sony is a kind of a cash flow careful company. Because of the way they operate their entire business empire, they don't have massive amounts of those types of funds on hand. So deals have to be structured a little differently than a Microsoft saying, I'll wire you the money tomorrow, where Sony can't do that. Things like stock options or disbursements over numbers of years, like those all have to come into this. So they have to be a little more creative about the deal. They can certainly do it. They just have to be a little more creative. In that world, I still think it lands on if Square Enix doesn't want to be bought, they aren't going to be bought.
Yeah.
Right? They're certainly not going to try to hostile take over them or anything.
The companies that the companies that Sony would look to buy have to want to be purchased in order to be purchased. I think Activision Blizzard was they got an offer on their table they couldn't refuse. And they were like, yeah, we're taking that. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, if you don't watch my whole MMO thoughts on this, go watch the first 10 seconds. Just trust me, it's worth it. MMOBomb.com. It's right in the banner. Go watch the first 10 seconds.
The thing for me too, like the one last thing for me is like, do they have to beat Microsoft in acquisitions? Like, I like the way Nintendo operates. Honestly, they just concentrate on the games and they bring good service, and the games are good. And
I don't think it's trying to combat the acquisition or feeling like you have to acquire because your opponent or your competition acquired. I feel like it puts you in a spot where you have to protect assets.
Right.
You know, and Final Fantasy, like, look just at Final Fantasy itself. Final Fantasy is a huge upfront asset for Sony because they get the timed exclusives on everything. And the last thing you want is Microsoft buying them if they're available for purchase.
You think
and
like
so
you to the punch is kind of,
you acquire from a defensive standpoint. You protect your assets.
My like counter argument to that is I don't think Square Enix wants to be purchased. I think, like, I agree with you. I think they both tried, and Square Enix is like, no, we're good. So I think Sony should feel safe in that regard to me, because like I feel like both of them had to have tried to purchase Square, and I don't think Square wants to be purchased. But
I still think Microsoft wants a Japanese company, though. I think
Konami's totally on the table.
I think Konami's on the table, and many episodes ago, Tark, you and I talked about Sega. I mean, Sega and Justin bringing that up in chat. We've already discussed that. You know,
Sega
they may not want to be purchased.
Are already partners.
They're already halfway in bed. They just don't call each other the next morning yet.
Nintendo too, though. Like already.
Yeah, there were rumors. Yeah. We talked about that on Gaming Gumbo that Microsoft tried to buy Nintendo and got laughed out of the room.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. Where they weren't quite laughed out of the room at Square Enix in those rumors, but they were just told politely, no thank you at the time. So we'll see. We'll see. We might circle back around to that a little later in the show.
I'm sure we'll circle back many times as things progress in the next couple of years.
Yep, that's true. Let's take a look at Square Enix's slate for 2022. They actually had this post up for last week's show, but there were so many things I actually wanted to go through and get opinions on that it didn't fit with the 14 stuff that we were talking about. As far as Yoshi P's interviews and all that stuff. So, looking at their slate, Square Enix has put up an official site. 2020 page 2022 is here, and here is a bunch of stuff we're doing this year, confirming dates in some cases and stuff like that. If you're a Square Enix fan, oh, by the way, we have other stuff too. You mean laughed at like Nintendo? Yeah. Nintendo laughed at Microsoft, basically. That was the urban legend story when Microsoft approached them. They took the meeting and laughed at them. Life is Strange Remastered Collection, that's coming up February 1st. But the other one's delayed, right? On Switch?
The Switch version is delayed. No date on that. Sometime this year.
Is this a day one purchase for any of you?
Yes, I plan to get this. When they announced it, I was like, "Yep, I want to dive into Life is Strange," and True Colors has been critically acclaimed as being a good title. So I want to dive into the history of it.
Kronos, you kind of I don't think you don't like the Life is, or you just
I'm just
not into it. Yeah. How about Babylon's Fall, March 3rd, 2002. This is one I want to like. I do. I really do. I played in their beta, two of their betas now. I don't know, gang. I have so many concerns for this one. I think it could be fun. I don't know if it's had enough time in the oven, and I don't know if a March 3rd release is doing it any favors, knowing a bunch of other things that are coming out in the end of February and March.
So much stuff.
I have concerns, guys, that this one's just going to end up getting buried, even if it is decent. The problem is, I know it's not going to be excellent. I know it's not going to be top tier, and so therefore, even if it's just a good or decent game, it doesn't stand a chance in this time slot. And that's just against Square Enix's other titles, not counting Elden Rings and other things that are going to be launching at that time.
it has a hard road if it's gonna stick to this
No
release
doubt.
date. And I'm right with you. I think it needs more time. I played in that last beta. I think that was back in October or November. It needs a little bit more love, a little more time in the oven, as you said. I want it to be good. I said this on my stream earlier today. You know, I want to give it a try, but it's going to be tough if it comes out on March 3rd.
On the flip side, look at this cute guy. March 10th doesn't matter. The date on this game does not matter. The audience that is going to buy this game would buy it on the same day Elden Ring came out. Like, it doesn't matter. The audience that wants this game is going to buy it no matter what day you put it at, and that's the audience that's going to buy it. And if they get a couple extra along the way, I think Square Enix is going to be happy. In Chocobo GP coming out March 22nd, this is a day one for me. I'm sorry, guys. This is a day one for me. I loved the racing game on the PlayStation 1 back in the day. Obviously, he's cute as hell, very alpha, right? Yeah. And, there's no way I'm not buying this on launch day. Kronos, even your cold, dead heart can't look at that picture and tell me he isn't the cutest mofo you've ever seen.
Why are you coming at me like I'm not also going to buy this the day it comes out?
Because I know you're going to buy it.
Yeah, I'm definitely buying this. This is it's an easy purchase for me because it's a game I can also play with my girlfriend too that she'll enjoy. So
good call. Yeah, Damina loved Chocobo Racing on PlayStation 1, so I'm sure she'll absolutely love this. This one is Switch exclusive, though, for those of you out there that may not remember. So got to get it on your Nintendo Switch. And then the one that's kind of grown on most of us, Tark. Oh, it's Tark. You buying Chocobo day one? I'm sorry.
No, I am not. The racing games just aren't really my kind of deal. I might get it for my son at some point, but it's not a big thing for me, unfortunately.
Okay, cool. Then we'll just turn that camera off. The one that's kind of grown on all of us. We weren't initially very impressed or happy with it, but now, things have been getting better.
Yep.
We should have another round of testing coming up. Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin, coming out March 18th. Just look at that window. We've gone through 5 titles, and I'm not even all the way through March. And this is just Squeenix. This is just Squeenix. It's packed. It is packed. Just from this company, not counting the other games that are packing February, March, and April. I am still excited about this. This is still day one. However, that whole dungeon thing behind the digital pre-order we talked about on this show still gets under my skin, Kronos, and I'm amazed they have not backtracked on it yet.
Yeah, they still got a little bit of time, but I don't have high hopes that they will backtrack, sadly. This game it's fun. The story is really corny, but it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think as long as this game has good gameplay and it's smooth and it's fun, that's all that's really going to matter for this one. The DLC stuff sucks, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we'll... Tark, what do you think?
Day one purchase, absolutely. I need more Limp Bizkit. Need that to be its whole soundtrack. Feel free to turn that camera back off again. But yeah, day one purchase. The story is so corny. The dialogue is so corny. This is not a Guardian of the Galaxy kind of narrative that I'm expecting. But I believe the gameplay is going to be solid, and I can't wait to get my hands on this one.
Then we move to Forspoken, May 24th. So we're finally into the second quarter of the year when we hit Forspoken. This is another one that, at least for me, guys, has grown on me. Like, initially, we didn't know a lot about it, so it was like, okay, we'll wait till we see something. And then it was kind of like, all right, I mean, it looks kind of pretty, okay, whatever. And then as I start seeing like more and more of the story trailers and the PR stuff that comes, right, the interviews with voice actors and stuff like that, I'm really kind of looking forward to this. I'm a little nervous for this one because it is releasing May 24th, and keep in mind that will be right around the time period we expect to hear stuff on Final Fantasy XVI. I think it was smart, though, that they got out of the first quarter with this title. I think it has a much better shot in this May timeline than its originally kind of unofficially forecasted January release. I think that was very, very smart of them, Tark. Very smart.
Yeah, this is what Babylon's Fall needs to do, is kind of get out of that window. Maybe if Babylon's Fall can go to late April, it would be kind of safe there. But this is a good choice to move it. It seems to be a pretty open space at this time. I got kind of Horizon Zero Dawn kind of vibes when we first saw this, but to see the speed at which it moves makes me kind of giddy.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how this flows and the magic that's involved. Looks really sweet. It's very pretty.
Kronos, how you feeling on this one?
I'm kind of in the middle. I feel like I have to buy this the first day, though.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm almost like pressured to buying it the first day, but I'm not like super hype on it. It looks pretty. It does. I'm trying to like find a reason of like why I really want to play it, other than just like I'm on a Square Enix podcast and it's a Square Enix game, and I buy like every Square Enix
Peer
game.
pressure. Peer pressure.
So it's like it's probably gonna end up being a day one buy just because it's like they're putting a lot of time into it, and I want to give it a try. But I'm not super sold on it yet, to be honest.
And then because Square Enix's site likes to be goofy, we go back into February at 2022 for the Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster. I don't think we really need to spend much time on that one. It is what it is, and we're probably all going to own it at some point if we don't already own it. Outriders World Slayer expansion sometime in 2022. We've all given that one a thumbs up. We definitely want some more Outriders in our lives. I wonder if they ever got paid. And then we have Star Ocean, which all of us sometime in 2022. Honestly, I'm kind of amazed that it says 2022 because we've seen exactly one video on this.
Yeah,
one announcement video.
I wasn't high on that video. So if it's for 2022, they better get to work. And I don't encourage people to go.
We don't know how long they've been working on it.
Oof.
But this seems fast for Square Enix for us to get our first reveal of it and then it to be coming out. But if anybody's taking direction from, Yoshi P, that is the way he would rather do things. So,
yes,
if somebody's taking a little influence from somebody at Square Enix that's successful, who am I to disagree? I think, and I've said that we've all agreed on this one before, this one has to be good. It has to be, or the franchise sadly is probably dead. And that pains me as a Star Ocean fan to say. Just a couple quick hits before we get out of here today. Next week, we're going to talk about some of the DICE awards. We did some predictions on Gaming Gumbo last week. I don't know if we're going to get to any this week because of the Activision Blizzard news, but we have plenty of time before the show, so we might put that in the Gaming Gumbo next week instead of this Saturday. But next week, we'll talk about some of the Square Enix nominations on this show and get some predictions. The show's not till February anyway. We already talked about the watch being back in stock and some fun stuff like that. But Kingdom Hearts news, 20th anniversary plans have been announced. Well, kind of. There's going to be on April 10th an event in Tokyo, and they're advertising a mini concert, a chat, and a Q&A with the dev team, an exhibition, and more, and a video posted later. If you're not in Japan, get fucked. What do you want me to say? And then the cloud version for the Nintendo Switch was announced, which made a lot of people happy. Fine. Cloud-only streaming Kingdom Hearts Switch version. And the bundled thing, the bundle thing, the Kingdom Hearts Integrum Masterpiece for Cloud Edition was $90. Now, I mean, there's a discount if you pre-order it, so it's just a $72. $90.
Are you surprised?
Holy hell. I actually am.
I feel like there's got to come a time where we just have to stop being surprised that Square does this.
For a non-physical
This is for
game?
non-physical. It's not even a digital game. It's cloud. It's streamed.
That's awful.
You're not even downloading all of it. Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 and 2.5 Remix Cloud version is $40. Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue Cloud version and Kingdom Hearts 3 plus Remind DLC Cloud version, $50. Bundled, $90. Pre-order discount of 20% if you pre-order it. That is a hell of a price point.
I mean, we're still paying $24.99 for games that are 35 years old. So, I mean, I don't know. These games are only 20 years old. So, there's that.
There's that. They're newer. They're newer. Now, not only do you not own a physical edition, but you're not even downloading the full game.
Yeah. Here's my $90. Oh, the cloud is down. Sorry. There goes my
last
$90.
thing. Yeah, last thing. There was an Italian Senate Zoom meeting this past week. Italian lawmakers discussing data transparency and political decision making and talking to Nobel Prize nominees and winners and then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, it was broadcast on basically Italy's version of C-SPAN here in the United States. Well, while they're talking to one of last year's Nobel Prize winners in physics, Giorgio Parisi, all of a sudden, everybody in attendance is getting a nice, good view of some Final Fantasy VII illegal fan-made hentai porn. Audio and all. For what was no doubt the most uncomfortable 30 seconds of some people's lives. Now, they don't know if somebody hacked the thing and did it. They don't know if somebody was on the call and watching it and accidentally did. Like, that hasn't been parsed out yet. There were quite a few people on this call. It wasn't like the three of us here and, we could see who's sharing screens. Like, it took them a little bit to cancel or to cut off the video feed. And then reports are that once they did figure out how to cancel the video feed, it didn't actually shut the audio portion off right away, which I think might be worse. To me, that might be worse. Like, if you're watching two cartoon characters go to town on each other and you hear the sound effects, at least you have the context. When you take the image away and you can still hear the sounds, I think it might get a little more uncomfortable. So,
God.
Needless to say, it was removed from the video on demand version of the online meeting. But, Final Fantasy bringing government together.
Or to its knees.
Ugh. Let's slide over and do Love It or Leave It. Love It or Leave It is how we end every episode of the Relic Grind. Here, I'm going to give you something Square Enix related. Could be a game, could be a feature, could be a press release, could be something tangentially related to Square. Doesn't matter. My show, I get to pick it. And all of us will tell you whether we love it, want more of it, or leave it, cast it aside. There is no in-between, and we want to know yours down below. Put it under your Final Fantasy XIV PSA in the comments. Feed that algorithm. Help us grow. Today, I want to know, love it or leave it, a hypothetical Sony purchase of Square Enix. Tark, love it or leave it?
I've gone on record several times saying I don't like the tribal legend. I don't like this shrinking. There's a game, you should be able to play it where you want to play it. So timed exclusives are one thing. The other part is, I've bought a PlayStation of each version since the PlayStation 1, so I'm a PlayStation person. I don't have the resources to get all the different types of systems. So I'm gonna leave this because I think it just restricts where all these great Square titles and IPs can be played. So I'm gonna leave it.
Kronos.
Yeah, while I wouldn't be mad if it happened or anything, or super upset, I'm gonna leave it too. I just like the way it works now. And like Tark said, I think everybody should be able to play on where they want, even right now, you have to wait years before you get to play the Square stuff on PC after it comes out on a Sony device. So
and then it doesn't work, and it's overpriced, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm gonna go with love it. Like, and I agree with you. I'm not real big on console exclusivity. It doesn't bother me personally because I can just play it on any platform here. Very blessed to be able to do that, though. That's a very fortunate position to be in. Yeah, I'm not down for exclusivity. I wouldn't want them to do that. But in my mind, it's kind of like pre-Final Fantasy VII, Square was Nintendo in my young person's brain, right? You know, when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, Square might as well have been Nintendo. And since Final Fantasy VII, yes, Final Fantasy has been on other platforms. 11 was on the 360, the PlayStation 2 and the PCs where I first played, but I did move on to the 360 and play it on there as well. But I just still associate Final Fantasy games and Square Enix games generally with Sony anyway. So I'm going to go with love it simply because it's kind of how it already is in my head. As a fan, obviously, as somebody who reports on this, I know better. But as a fan, I already have that association. And I think additional resources, additional funds will get me some of the games that I want from Square Enix in 2 and 3 years instead of 5 and 6 years. So on that hopeful in my heart reason, I'll go love it. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you check out Gaming Gumbo this Saturday at 7 p.m. right here, twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. And we've got all the breaking news on Activision, Blizzard, Microsoft covered every day for you over on MMOBomb.com, as well as everything else multiplayer. It's important. Go visit that site, follow it, and all that stuff. That's the one that pays the bills. This don't pay the bills. We appreciate our subscribers, but it don't pay the bills. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until then, we'll be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, with another episode of Gaming Gumbo, chatting 14 and Square Enix. Until then, Kronos, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, same as always. Twitter below. I'm hoping I can kill the raid this week. We had to move our raid day, so we're going Monday. I got football playoffs this weekend. Should be a lot of good games. And
your Eagles, man. I hope
we were
they
terrible,
win.
anyways. We already sucked. I had like very low hopes. At least we weren't the only team that got blown out. There's that.
Sure.
But then I'm probably gonna be playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, I think, actually. So yeah, should be fun. I don't know why you're upset about that. It's actually kind of fun. So
Tark, until next Thursday, where can everybody find you?
YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all at Tarkoth Gaming. We got raid night tonight. We're gonna bang our heads against the tornadoes in Phoenix, and this weekend I'm probably gonna be checking out Yu-Gi-Oh. Hey,
Duel. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at Magic Man 1. But more importantly, follow at Steelers. At MMO. At RC Radio, so that we can tweet at you every time we go live with all of our podcasts or volunteer streamers. No stream from Faye tonight. Hope she's feeling better. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.